The sky over Elysia 4 was pale pink as dawn broke, soft and gentle. But beneath the calm, the colony held its breath. The remnants were planning a direct takeover. Their leader, Commander Relan, wanted to seize control of the colony's defense grid, not to conquer the stars, but to prove humans could dominate again. Aiden and Leora knew what had to be done. Not with weapons, not with anger, not with cruelty, but with the truth of who humanity really was. They gathered the colonists in the main hall, a tall building of light and glass. Everyone came, curious, worried, or frightened. Children clutched their parents' hands, workers and scientists looked around, unsure who would speak first. Aiden stepped forward. His voice was calm but firm. "We face a choice," he said. "Fear or hope, anger or love. The remnants want to take control with threats, but we have something stronger. We remember, and even if we forgot before, our hearts remember." Leora moved beside him. She held the memory device, now fully decoded. She lifted it and a hologram spread across the hall. Images of Earth appeared. Oceans, forests, mountains, cities of light. Then the people. Their hands. Their work. Their laughter. Their love. The colonists watched silently. Some gasped. Some wept softly. The story was theirs, but also something they had forgotten. Leora's voice trembled but held steady. "Look at this," she said. "This is who we are. Not conquerors, not destroyers. We were survivors, we were helpers, and we were lovers. Even when the memory was gone, love remained. And love saved us before. Love will save us now." The remnants were silent at first, unsure how to respond. Commander Relan's face was unreadable, but inside, anger and doubt churned. He had planned fear, but what he saw was stronger. Unity, memory, humanity at its best. Aiden spoke again. "Strength is not power over others. Strength is protecting life. Strength is remembering who we promised to be. That is what made humanity great once, and it can be great again." Some colonists began to clap quietly at first, then louder. Children smiled. Adults nodded. One by one, hearts shifted. The remnants found their influence slipping. Relan tried to speak, to shout, to command. But no one listened. They remembered now what mattered, what truly defined them. That evening, the remnants made their move anyway. They activated defense drones, trying to seize the colony's main systems. But Aiden and Leora were ready. "Follow me," Aiden said. "We do not fight to kill. We fight to protect." The two moved through the halls, guiding colonists to safety while using the drones' programming against them. Leora hacked the control panels, redirecting drones away from people, shutting weapons down without harming anyone. Aiden repaired power lines, restored communications, and coordinated the colony's defenses with a quiet confidence that inspired everyone. The remnants were skilled, yes, but they had underestimated one thing: the bond between people who remembered love. It was not brute force that stopped them. It was strategy. It was cooperation. It was the power of hearts united. By midnight, the takeover had failed. The remnants were contained, their weapons neutralized, and most importantly, no one was hurt. In the days that followed, the colony began to heal. Trust returned. The children played safely again. The fields and gardens flourished. Aiden and Leora worked tirelessly, not as leaders but as guides, showing what humanity could achieve when it chose unity over fear. People began to speak openly about Earth, about the mistakes of the past, about the love they had forgotten. Slowly, memory returned in fragments. Faces, stories, laughter, kindness, and all remembered in the hearts of the colonists. Even some of the remnants changed. They realized that control and fear had never brought joy. Seeing Aiden and Leora work, remembering their love, reminded everyone that strength could come from gentleness, courage could come from care, and humanity was not measured by power, but by the lives it touched and protected. One evening, Aiden and Leora climbed to the top of the central observatory. The twin suns of Elysia 4 were setting, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. The colony glowed beneath them, alive and strong. Aiden turned to Leora, smiling softly. "We did it. We didn't just save the colony. We reminded everyone who we are." Leora placed her hand on his cheek. "Yes, and we remembered ourselves." They stood together in silence, the wind brushing their faces, their hearts synchronized. For years they had searched for a love they could not name, For years they had wandered through dreams and half-remembered feelings. And now finally they were home, Aiden whispered. We didn't fall in love. We returned to a love that always existed. Leora smiled, resting her head on his shoulder. A love patient enough to wait through war, memory, and time. The stars began to shine faintly in the early night sky. Lights in the colony flickered as children played and families laughed, unaware of the danger they had just survived. And yet in every heart there was something new. A memory of love, courage, and hope. A memory that would never be forgotten again. In the weeks that followed, the colony rebuilt and thrived. Aiden and Leora continued to explore old Earth archives, teaching history, engineering, and botany to children and young colonists. They told the story of humanity not as conquerors, but as protectors, helpers, and lovers. Every day they reminded people that true strength came from memory, love, and unity. And every evening they returned to each other hand in hand, never forgetting the bond that had survived erasure, separation, and war. The remnants were allowed to stay in the colony, but now they were teachers of caution, not fear. They helped rebuild, learned from the past, and slowly became part of the community, witnesses to a strength that no power could take away, the strength of the human heart. And finally, Aiden and Leora looked at each other, no need for words. They had returned to the love they always had. Not new, not sudden, not fragile, but eternal Elysia 4 thrived, not because it was safe or powerful, but because it remembered what it meant to be human, to love, to care, and to hope. In the far future, when humanity had spread across hundreds of star systems, there was a small planet named Orlin, known for its peaceful skies and calm oceans of silver blue. Humanity had built many strong colonies, but Orlin was different. It was quiet, gentle, and filled with wide open fields of tall glowing grass that moved like waves under the twin suns. It was here that two souls met, Arian and Lyra. Arian was a quiet engineer. He liked machines more than crowds, stars more than cities. He had come to Orlin to repair old communications towers that connected the colony to the rest of human space. He was good at his job, calm and focused, though he often felt alone. Not because he didn't like people, but because he had always felt that no one really understood the way he saw the world. To him, everything was connected. Every star, every person, every breath of wind. But he found it hard to explain. Lyra was the opposite of him. She was full of energy, always smiling, always trying to bring light into others' lives. She worked as a botanist, studying the unusual plants of Orlin, the way they glowed softly at night, the way they grew in perfect rhythm with the atmosphere. She loved to talk, to laugh, to share stories, but deep inside her heart she also carried loneliness. People liked her, but few truly saw her. Many admired her smile without noticing the quiet thoughts behind it. They met by chance, yet maybe it was never chance at all. One evening, Arian was repairing a transmitter on the northern plains. The wind was gentle, moving the glowing grass in slow waves. His small work drone hovered beside him, holding tools and shining light. He worked carefully, adjusting circuits and aligning the antenna to the stars above. Lyra arrived with her sampling kit, collecting pollen from the glowing plants. When she saw Arian, she lifted her hand and waved. "You're the new engineer," she said warmly. Arian looked up, surprised someone was speaking to him. "Yes, Arian, you're botanist?" Lyra laughed. "Yes, I study these plants. They grow towards sound, not just light. They respond to music," Arian blinked. "Music?" "Yes," Lyra said, kneeling near a plant. She whistled a gentle melody, and the plant's glowing leaves bent slowly toward her as if reaching for her voice. Arian stared, amazed. "That's beautiful." Lyra smiled at his expression because in that moment she saw something in him. Not loneliness, not silence. A soft heart waiting for someone who could hear it. She sat next to him. "You're not from here, right?" "No," Arian answered. "I worked on the frontier colonies before. Orlin is different, peaceful. That's why I came," Lyra said. "I was tired of busy places, tired of noise. I thought maybe here I could understand myself." Arian hesitated, then said quietly, "I think I'm still trying to understand myself." Their eyes met. There was no sudden spark, no dramatic moment of destiny, just understanding, a gentle one. Days turned into weeks. They began to meet often. Sometimes they walked through the silver fields. Sometimes Lyra showed Arian how the plants change shape at night, glowing brighter when the moons aligned. Sometimes Arian taught her how the communication towers listened to the stars. Hearing signals from distant worlds, their conversations were simple, but they felt full. They talked about dreams, about fears, about wanting to belong. Lyra would talk with excitement, telling stories with her whole heart. Arian would listen quietly, but when he spoke, his words were always thoughtful, meaningful, like he had been thinking about them a long time. People in the colony soon noticed. Some said they looked good together. Some said they were too different. But Arian and Lyra were not thinking about the world. They were thinking about each other. One evening, they stood on a cliff overlooking the northern ocean. The sky was full of stars, more than one could count. The glowing waves below moved like liquid light. Lyra leaned on the railing, her voice soft. "Arian, do you believe love has to be perfect?" Arian thought for a long moment before answering. "No, I think love is something you choose. Every day, even when it's difficult. Especially when it's difficult." Lyra smiled a little, but her eyes were sad. "I'm not perfect. I talk too much. I feel too much. And sometimes, I hide my sadness behind smiles." Arian turned to her, gentle, steady. "And I'm quiet. I close myself off. I don't always know what to say. But I feel deeply, maybe too deeply." Their hands touched, not planned, just natural. "I don't need perfect," Arian said softly. "I just need real." Lyra's breath trembled. "Then we match." Their love began, not sudden, not loud. It began like two quiet stars gently drawing closer in the night sky. But love, even true love, is not without challenge. Orlin was peaceful, but the universe beyond was not. Humanity was in the middle of a rising tension with a distant alien alliance. No war had started, but rumors, fear, and distrust spread across the colonies. And Orlin was home to something rare, a naturally forming crystal field beneath its soil that amplified communication signals through hyperspace, a resource many would want. One morning, instructions came from the human government. All colonies with strategic materials must increase security. Engineers were needed not just to repair, but to prepare defenses. Arian was reassigned to build protective shield generators along the planet's perimeter. This meant less time with Lyra. Days grew heavier. Work became harder. Pressure increased. The peaceful colony felt the quiet weight of fear. Lyra tried to stay strong. She visited Arian at the construction sites, bringing him food, water, small jokes to make him smile. But she could feel it, the distance forming like cold air between warm hands. Arian was quieter than before. His thoughts were heavy. His fear was not about war. His fear was losing her, and Lyra feared the same. One night, after working until his hands were tired and his back ached, Arian returned to the cliff where they had first spoken of love. Lyra was already there, waiting. She looked at him, not with anger, not with accusation, but with understanding. "You're changing," she said softly. "You're changing too," he replied. They both knew why. Stress, duty, fear of what might come. Love was still there, but it felt fragile, not broken. Just struggling, like a flame in wind. Lyra took Arian's hand. Her voice shook, but it was strong inside. "We will not be perfect, Arian. Some days will be hard. Some days we will argue. Some days we will misunderstand each other." Arian looked down, guilt in his eyes. "I know. I already feel it happening." Lyra touched his face gently. "But love doesn't mean everything is easy. It means we choose to try, again and again." The wind was cold, but between their hands it was warm. Arian lifted her hand and held it close. "Then I will try. Every day. And I will try too," Lyra whispered. Their love was not perfect, but it was true, and that made it strong. Yet, they did not know that soon, their love would face the greatest test of all. For a signal was traveling through space, fast, urgent, and dangerous, a signal that would change Orlin forever. And their love would be asked to endure not just distance or fear, but fate itself. The peaceful days on Orlin slowly began to fade. What once felt like a quiet and gentle world started to feel tight with fear. News spread across the colony. An unknown fleet had been detected at the edge of the system, moving slowly but steadily toward Orlung. People whispered about war. Some believed it was just a scouting vessel. Others feared it was the beginning of something far worse. Arian was the first to see the incoming signal clearly. He had been working late at the communications center, checking the relay towers and shield generators when the long-range scanner picked it up. A faint pattern of energy, unmistakably artificial, moving in formation. Not human. He stared at the display, his chest growing tight. The signal was encrypted, unfamiliar. The fleet was not broadcasting peace. They were silent. Silent was always dangerous. He immediately reported it to Orlung's council. They responded with calm voices on the surface, but their eyes were full of worry. Orders were issued. People were told to stay calm. But calmness was something that could never truly be ordered. News spread fast and sharp. And when Lyra heard, she went straight to find Arian. She found him near the shield generator site, where bright blue energy arcs glowed between tall metal towers. The ground smelled of heat and dust. Arian was kneeling beside a console, tightening cables with a wrench. Sweat marked his forehead. His movements were quick, tense. "Arian," Lyra called softly. He looked up. His expression held exhaustion, and something deeper. Fear. Lyra walked to him slowly and knelt beside him. "I heard about the signal." Arian nodded. "They will be here soon. Maybe days, maybe weeks." Lyra lowered her eyes. "Do you think they will attack?" Arian stared at the shield tower, as if the metal could answer for him. "I don't know. But they are coming to this planet for a reason, and I don't think it is peaceful." Lyra slipped her hand into his. He did not pull away. He squeezed tightly. "Then we will face it," Lyra whispered. Arian didn't answer at first. He was thinking not about war, but about her. Finally, he spoke. "If something happens, I want to know you'll be safe." Lyra frowned. "You want me to leave?" "No," Arian said quickly, shaking his head. "I want you to stay alive, but I don't want to lose you." Lyra looked at him, really looked. His voice wasn't demanding. It wasn't trying to control her. It was afraid. Honest fear. She placed her forehead against his. "I'm not leaving you. Whatever happens, we face it together." His breath shook. Their love was not loud, but it was steady. Even in fear, it stayed. Days continued. Preparations continued. The colony began to build emergency bunkers and reinforce walls. Communication towers glowed brighter through the nights as they sent out silent signals requesting aid from nearby human fleets. But the space around Orlung was quiet, too. Quiet. Help might not arrive in time. Arian worked as much as he could, sometimes late into the night, sometimes all night without rest. His hands grew rough, his eyes tired. His face, once calm, now carried lines of worry. Lyra stayed close when she could. She tried to keep joy alive in the colony, bringing herbs that calmed nerves, helping children plant new glowing flowers, reminding people of hope. But she, too, felt the weight of the unknown future. At night, they would sit together in silence, not because they had nothing to say, but because their feelings were too large for words. Sometimes, Lyra would rest her head on Arian's shoulder and listen to his heartbeat, steady, strong, real. And Arian would close his eyes, grounding himself in the warmth beside him. Their love was not perfect, but it was real, and that realness gave them strength. Then, one morning, it happened. The alien fleet arrived. 3 massive ships appeared in the sky above Orlung, dark silhouettes blocking one of the planet's suns. Their metal surfaces were smooth and reflective, like polished obsidian. They made no sound, no message, no warning. The colony stared up in fear. The ships hovered silently. Then, they released drones. Hundreds of them. Not attacking, just scanning, studying, watching, like eyes across the sky. The colony alarm sounded. Children were brought inside homes. Colony guards took positions. The shield generators hummed, powering up. Arian was already at the command console. Lyra stood beside him, her hand gripping his arm. A voice echoed through the colony speakers. Commander Wren, the head official. "Do not engage. Do not provoke. Hold positions. Shields at full strength. Wait." Everyone held their breath for hours. Nothing happened. The drones floated. The ships hovered. The shield glowed. Time felt frozen. Lyra leaned close, whispering, "Why are they not doing anything?" Arian kept his eyes on the scanner. "They're searching. For something. Or someone. Maybe the crystals. Maybe a signal. I don't know." Suddenly, the main screen flashed, a message, not in words, in patterns. Color and light pulsed across the display in rhythmic waves. Arian stared at it. "It's communication," he murmured. "But not language. It's emotional resonance. Like music. Like the plants respond to." Lyra's eyes widened. "The plants respond to sound. To feeling. Maybe this species communicates the same way." Arian's heart started beating faster, not with fear, but realization. "We can answer," he whispered. Commander Wren looked sharply at him. "We cannot risk sending messages. They may take it as aggression." Lyra stepped forward. "No. If we don't respond, they may think we are the threat." The council hesitated. Fear held them like chains. Arian turned to Lyra. "We need to show we are not enemies." Lyra nodded. "Then we speak in the way they do. Not with weapons, not with words, with music." She stepped to a console, adjusting the colony broadcast frequency to match the, fluctuating energy of the alien. Signal. Arian placed his hand on hers. Together, they sent out music, soft, gentle, honest, simple. Tones, warm, peaceful, like the wind across Orleans' glowing fields, like the quiet nights they had shared together, like the feeling of love. Imperfect, but true. The signal went out. Time froze again. The alien drones paused, their lights flickered. Then, they retracted. Slowly, silently, like birds folding their wings. The massive ships shifted position. Their engines glowed softly. They turned, drifting away from Orleans, leaving the colony untouched. No attack. No harm, just departure. The danger was over. Because two hearts had understood what logic, strategy, and fear could not. Connection. But peace did not erase what had happened. The colony remained shaken. People began to prepare evacuation plans anyway, in case the aliens returned. Some wanted to celebrate. Some wanted to hide. Some wanted to leave the planet entirely. Tension remained, and slowly, it began to form cracks, not in the colony, in Arian and Lyra. Arian felt responsible for the colony's safety. He doubled his work again, now strengthening defenses even harder. Lyra tried to convince people to trust peace, but many blamed her for sending the musical signal at all. Some said it was lucky. Some said it was reckless. And Lyra, who once felt loved by everyone, now felt watched. Whispers followed her, Arian noticed, but he didn't know how to stop it, and the guilt of that sat heavily in his chest. Their moments together grew shorter. Their smiles grew weaker. Their conversations grew quieter. They loved each other, but life was pushing them apart. One evening, they stood again on the cliff by the ocean, the same place where they had confessed love. But now, silence lay between them. Lyra spoke first. "Arian, do you think we are changing?" "Yes," he whispered. "Are we breaking apart?" He closed his eyes, then shook his head. "No. We are struggling, but struggling is not the same as ending." Lyra looked at him, tears soft in her eyes. "Then promise me something. Anything. No matter how hard it gets. No matter how difficult tomorrow becomes. Promise we won't stop trying." Arian took her hands gently, his voice steady. "I promise." Their love was not perfect, but it was true. And sometimes, truth is the strongest protection of all.